not market trends, so you can take advantage of life's opportunities. To learn more, contact me, Dan McGarry, at my office on a square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Your county, your teams. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
It's a different ball game.
I mean, York Country Day. They tried playing zone, they tried playing man, nothing worked. I mean, those guys were Phil Mott was scoring on all layups. They shot 21 of 29 in the first half. They shot 70% for the game. It was insane. They just didn't seem to miss. It was all layups, easy buckets, all putbacks. Even when they were finally missing, their 6'8", 6'6" guys were just collecting offensive rebounds and putting it back up.
You knew at some point York Country Day was going to get challenged by somebody, and
I mean.
They're done without him.
But they in that first one, after he got his third foul, they pulled him out. And when they pulled him out, Spring Ford went on an 18-4 run, and it snowballed after that. So they tried to put him back in. It was kind of too little, too late anyway.
It affects the whole team psychologically too when your best players.
That put more on Gordon. Gordon started pushing a little bit too hard. I mean, he ended up with a solid game, but he was trying to be the man a little bit too hard, and things that didn't work out. But it was one of those nights also where Spring Grove was missing bunny layups and Spring Ford was coming down and just chucking up Steph Curry threes, and it was going in.
Yeah, Brandon, I think the two games Brandon saw, the away teams went it felt like they went 25 of 30 from three.
Yeah, during the second half, I couldn't remember Spring Ford missing a shot. Like, they came down. And
that's another thing. What was the other game? There was another. The
Central one. They lost to CB East or CB West, somebody like that, in
CB West.
CB West, okay. But same thing, CB West shot 11 of 16 from beyond the arc. Like, it was insane. Like, no matter what Central was doing, Central was coming down and getting an N1 or coming down and hitting a three, and then CB West would come down and hit like 3 straight threes.
If a team goes 11 of 16 from three land, you're not winning.
Yeah. No.
You're not going to do it. It's not.
And they still almost came back.
Central made a nice comeback. They were down by 5, right?
Yeah, they were down double digits again in the second half, like they were against Reading. Came all the way back to within 2 or 3 with like a minute left. Wagner missed a 3, and CB West came down and got an N1. So. They did come all the way back, though. It was a very, very intense game. They were down big kind of at halftime. They were down double digits at halftime. Got it to within 3 or 4 at the end of the third. Got down double digits again in the fourth and came back to within 3 again in the end of the fourth. So as they have all year, they fought to the end. A scrappy bunch, but CB West was just a little bit too much for them.
And those are probably two teams in Spring Grove and Central that probably thought they could get at least a game in the States. Like, they had favorable matchups, but as it turned out, the teams played great.
Yeah.
So it's tough. Obviously a great season for both of them. They probably wish they could have gotten a little bit farther, but you still got to, tip the hat to them.
Yeah, I mean, Central with a win would have played Roman Catholic anyway, which would have been very, very
Central York's, again, great year. Central York's year was just, my mind was blown away from start to finish by their season. They were incredible, and
for going 20-10 last year, for losing 4 starters, including your top rebounder, your top scorer, all those guys.
Did they also lose a key player to injury? I felt like there may have been a guy. I thought maybe you talked about it one time, or maybe not. Gingrich was clearly the anchor in the middle.
Not this year. Gingrich not coming out and kind of hurt them down low. That made them kind of an undersized team. And Saxton was a great scorer last year.
Yeah.
Went on to playing at Lemoyne, but when we talked before the season, they had 1 starter coming back, and it was kind of like, what's Central going to do? A 20-10 season with 1 starter coming back, maybe they go 18-12 or 17-13.
I mean, that's one of those things. You obviously this statement's going to be silly, but we do like our basketball cover thing. Like, if you had a crystal ball, you would, what I mean? Like, they came out of. I mean, they're clearly one of the top stories.
If we had a crystal ball, I think we could have put Harry Wagner on the cover.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because it shows how much he means to the team and his energy. Because when you look at that team, they don't jump off the page size-wise or athleticism-wise. And they were the best team in the area. I mean, Spring Grove beat them in the tournament, but Spring Grove has Brooks, probably the best player around. You look at some of these teams like Northeastern and William Penn, where you look at their lineup when they come out. They're big, they're athletic, they're tall, they have all that stuff going for them. Central doesn't have that to the same extent, and they were better than those teams.
How did Wagner even tip that ball in for the game winner in that district? I mean, that was crazy.
He missed his own. He missed his own shot. It went off the front of the rim, or backboard front of the rim, came off, and then Wagner jumped back up.
And what was so special about that play was he just went like balls to the wall to the basket, throws off the back, like too hard off the backboard. Yeah. But then he was composed enough to get up and hit it with the right level of intensity to knock it back in.
For the ages.
I mean, Spring Grove had 3 guys there for the rebound, but after the loss anyway to CB West, we asked Sheeler what was one of his favorite memories from the season, and he pointed to the series with Spring Grove. He said all 4 games were so much fun.
Yeah, they really were all great.
And he said it was so great for York County basketball to see that and have that that series and so much anticipation for every time they played.
It was a really good year for York County basketball. I mean, there were.
We got one district title. We had 10 teams go to state.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't, but there were some teams that really overperformed or exceeded expectations.
Yeah, and that might be kind of what I'm referring to.
Two teams that underperformed, William Penn and Northeastern. I know you wanted to bring up Northeastern.
Well, yeah, I think William Penn clearly was just. I mean, they had a down year. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about. They clearly lost some key players. They kind of had some turmoil, even with their AD leaving, and of course, Coach Sowers leaving. I just felt like Northeastern, to be honest with you, peaked when they blew out William Penn. They were never the same since then, and. My God, at the end
I don't
of the
think
year,
they won a game after that, didn't they?
When they got torched by Wilson. Like, I don't know what happened. I thought Northeastern midseason, I was like, this is a team. I thought they'd still be playing now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I thought they would still be I thought they'd go deep into the...
Yeah, they blew out William Penn, then they lost to Spring Grove in the semis, and then they lost to Wilson.
It was like they beat William Penn. They're like, that's it.
It was really strange. I mean, they beat Central, didn't they? Right? But I mean, that just shows you how good they were, even being a Division II team.
They were so good this year. You looked at their team, their depth, and them just taking it to teams. And I was like, this is one team that's going to be playing ball late. And they didn't just lose to Wilson. They got smoked by Wilson.
Right. A much lower seed.
Something happened there. I don't know what, but it didn't end well.
Well, Nawadu definitely had a rough. I mean, he had 3 points against Spring Grove,
and then 7 or something.
7 against Wilson, or a rough outing for him at the end of the year. But also he wrapped up a great career as well. We mentioned some other guys leaving earlier in the show.
Where's he going to play college again? Somewhere pretty good, right?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
It's Division II, I think, where he's going. But
I forget. I know we talked about it. I forget where he's going. It might be like in East Stroudsburg or something like that. Anything else, boys basketball, to wrap up? That's the end of the season. Put a bow on it. All right, that'll do it for the 2016 season. When we come back, we'll wrap up the girls basketball season.
So it's York Revolution baseball season.
And good! A walk-off home run! That's a double play! Unbelievable! And the Revs have won this game! Are you kidding me? This crowd going crazy! Can you believe it? Cue up the cannon! This baby's over!
Yep, it's kind of exciting. The Revs play here. Sports Radio 1350, WOYK.
Did you know that Shipley Energy can take care of all your energy needs? From heating oil and propane to providing your home with electricity and natural gas. We also provide heating and air conditioning service and installation. All of your energy needs are under one roof at Shipley Energy. To learn more, visit shipleyenergy.com. Call 855-4-SHIPLEY and don't forget to ask about our $100 rebate. Shipley Energy. Energy for life.
I'm Jason Horowitz, and this is March Madness.
Allen attacking, driving inside, got a lot of contact, and he muscles it up and in. Grayson Allen with 16 in the title game, and Duke's first lead. Since late in the first half, they're up 56-54.
The Blue Devils' comeback victory for a 68-63 win on Championship Monday ended Wisconsin's run and secured Duke its 5th national title. Hear this year's action, start to finish, right here with Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the NCAA tournament.
Can tile look like brick? Right now at the Home Depot, it can. New brick look tile is just $4.99 a square foot. They're lightweight, easy to install tiles that look just like red, gray, or brown brick. For your backsplash, your kitchen island, your wall. Anywhere you want brick without the extra tonnage. This is the next generation of tiling. New brick look tile, just $4.99 a square foot. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only.
Security in life isn't something you just wish for. You build it with a strong financial plan. Start with Northwestern Mutual. Together, we'll design a disciplined and balanced approach to financial security, because reaching your goals is something we both want to work toward. To learn more, contact me, Dan McGarry, at my office on the Square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? the Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Welcome to today's York College Spartan Sports Scoreboard, brought to you by OSS Health. For the second consecutive season, the York College men's lacrosse team has taken down a top 5 opponent on its home turf, as the 11th ranked Spartans defeated number 5 Gettysburg 9-7 on Wednesday at Kinsley Field. The win for York avenges a 12-6 loss to the Bullets last season on the road in the first ever meeting between the two programs. Andrew Gamble led the scoring of 2 goals scored. It was a dominant performance in the first half that set up the number 8 York College women's lacrosse team for an eventual 10-3 victory over Dickinson College on the road on Wednesday. Allison Colasi led with 5 points on 1 goal and 4 assists. Brittany Noel led the scoring with 4 goals. The York College baseball team opened their 2016 home schedule with a 14-2 loss to Rutgers Camden on a beautiful spring day in York. The Scarlet Raptors improved to 3-0 with the win, while the Spartans fall to 2-9 with the setback. That's today's Spartan Sports Scoreboard, brought to you by OSS Health. Orthopedic experience you can trust. Visit them online at osshealth.com.
Your county, your teams. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
Welcome back to Game Day with GametimePA here on Sports Radio 1350. We're going to talk some girls basketball in this segment. Finally put all the basketball to bed for the season. We had 5 teams, just like in boys basketball. 5 teams made it to states. York Catholic, Christian School York, York Suburban, Red Lion, and Delone Catholic. York Catholic made the furthest. They went to the second round but fell to Holy Redeemer, who's one of the best teams in the state. So there's nothing to hang your heads about there. And by the end of the season, I'm pretty sure Bayhall was averaging like 50 a game.
Yeah,
she
it's amazing.
Started to go off at the end. Since she still has 2 years left, I can't wait to see how good she gets next year and the year after. Biggest disappointments out of this group, Teddy. Who are you thinking? Red Lion, maybe?
I think basically, let me just take a peek here. I can't sit here and say anyone. I think Red Lion, the reality is this. They had a great year in the YAIAA, but once they stepped out of there, their true colors may have shined through a bit. I take nothing away from the season they had regionally or locally. But stepping out of that box, they're not alone in that category locally. We see that a lot with a lot of different sports in York County. It's tough to judge a team here how they play against the local competition, because the reality is once they step out in the state field,
their district performance was definitely disappointing for them and Central. So if you had to say like a disappointing team, it's probably those two. And Central didn't make the state tournament. Correct?
And
they're probably the team who
Red
says
Lion,
disappointment.
After Red Lion beat Central in the league tournament, you thought, okay, maybe this team's got some noise to make in districts, and they fell flat in districts, barely got into states, low seeding states, got a rough matchup, and then fell apart.
I thought that York Catholic played, they lost a lot from last year, and they had a lot of
They lost 4
youth.
starters too.
They had a lot of youth. I think they're bringing back, obviously Kate Bayhoff's coming back next year, but I think they bring back a lot of players. They're going to be right there again. They won a state playoff game. I think that they performed up to their capability. I think that York Suburban was a tough team all year. I knew Suburban was going to have a difficult time in the postseason because
they have trouble scoring the ball. They have a great defense and great rebounding, but at some point you have to score the ball.
Yeah, there's only so many 34-29 games you can squeak out. And again, that's locally. I knew once they faced some regional competition that was really elite with more firepower, that would be an issue for them. But I thought they had a very good year, all things considered.
Matt, how about Delone?
Honestly, a good accomplishment for them just to get to the state tournament. It was funny. They lose to Camp Hill in the quarterfinals in districts, and Coach Gary Eckenrode afterwards was very disappointed. And Camp Hill beat York Catholic, so it shows how good they are. But he was very much like, we could have won this game, we didn't get the job done. But they win the consolation game against Wyomissing, they get to the state playoffs, and then they had really the same situation that we thought Gettysburg was going to play in. They're playing Newman Goretti, and I think that they lost. It was 49-24. So at least that doesn't sound good, but it probably could have been worse. And Eckenrode, after they beat Wyomissing, we asked him, what is it going to take to try to move on? He just goes, have you seen Newman Goretti play? He goes, it's going to be a bit much of a challenge, one of the best teams in the entire country.
So I think a miracle.
So just a nice experience for them, because they didn't get to, I think, the state tournament last year, and they'd gone the past couple years before that. So good for their senior class. They have a very strong senior class for them to at least say, we got to the state tournament our senior year.
They have a pretty solid freshman too,
Riley Vincent. So which is good for them because they lose like 3 starters in Allie Shipley, Lily Singleton, and Katie Lockman, who we know from a lot of sports. So, but they're another program, kind of not quite as good as York Catholic, but they're really good every year. Eckenrode's been doing this for a long time. Yeah. So even when they lose people, you know they're going to be back because they've clearly just kind of created something where they have a lot of talent in the youth coming up. So they'll be pretty good next year. Vincent's going to be a year older. They got Elise Knobloch coming back.
They'll have Novak coming back from injury.
Mm-hmm.
With 2 teams, obviously Gettysburg, DeLone, playing as 16 seeds. We talked about this last week on the program. Do you think too many teams make the state bracket?
I do, yeah. I think it's too watered. I think it's too watered down. Like some of these first round matchups are just not.
They're foregone conclusions.
Yeah, like and it just makes the season a little bit longer, which I think it should be cut down because I mean we're still talking about.
That's a really good point.
The fact that we're 10 days in March and wrestling's still happening and basketball's still it's.
It's the only argument against it, and I agree with you. Is like, what if Gettysburg does pull off that comeback, which they were close, and it's like, they had the opportunity, but at the same time, Gettysburg, and credit them for making the state tournament, but like in districts, they won their first round matchup, then they lost the next game, then they won in consolations. It wasn't like they went on this like dominant run in districts to make the state playoffs.
And that's what I don't like. I don't like I think making districts should be an accomplishment, but then if you go 1-1 or 2-2 in districts,
right?
Yeah, still make
which
states.
Is what they went 2-2 in districts and made the state tournament.
You went 500 in districts and you get to make states.
100%.
I think it's a little bit too much. Like District 3 does not need 7 teams or 8 teams from the big. Give them 4 or 5. And,
I agree with that.
And feel it.
Making states a much bigger accomplishment than it is.
Right. We don't feel as much here because a lot of our teams lost in the first couple of rounds. Now, some in wrestling, they're still going on, but like these Philly area schools, they're going to be going on for another week or so, or however long they're going to be lasting. Mm-hmm. And spring sports are already well underway, so it does kind of really cut into that. It makes it tough. We see the same thing in football season too.
Yeah, make it mean something.
Yeah, make it mean a little bit more.
Make it be an accomplishment.
I mean, letting the top 7 teams from a district make
that's a lot.
It's way too much.
Yeah, it's overkill.
Like I said, 4 or 5 from each one. Cut it down from 32 in the state bracket to maybe 24 with some play-ins or 16 or something like that. I don't know. I think making the states is like, wow, they made the states that year. Not like, oh yeah, they made the states and got beat by 50 by a school in the first round because they went 2-2 in
exactly. I'm with you. That's why I asked.
But yeah, I agree with you. Christian School York also fell. We didn't mention them already. Sorry about that. But yeah, so York Country Day on the boys' side, York Catholic on the girls' side. They reached the second round. That's as far as any of our teams got in states. I think combined, we had 1 district title. That was on the boys' side of York Country Day. Any overall thoughts you had, Teddy, to wrap this up?
I think basically overall, it's kind of the same old same. I think that our teams, I think there were some teams, as we alluded to, that really met or really exceeded expectations. Right off the top of my head, Eastern York, Central York on the boys' side. I think Spring Grove had a great year, obviously, and I think if Brooks is playing in that game, I think we could be having a much different conversation today. I think also on the girls' side, York Catholic did what they do. I think that once teams got outside of this area in Eastern York or Red Lion girls, they were exposed a bit, which is, again, fairly typical around this neck of the woods. But I also think that the one team that I thought that could really make a run in the postseason that did not was Northeastern. They went south at the end of the year in a big way. And yeah, actually, it was funny. The other day we were in the office. I was away for a couple weeks ago, and Jess Sprinkle, my fellow assistant sports editor, mentioned how Sowers left. So that was kind of, I don't know if it was a blindsider per se. Obviously, Joe Chiotti left as an AD. I know him and Troy were really tight. Who knows if that rocked the waters at all? But Coach Sowers did a really good job at William Penn, I felt like, and he was a very good coach. And actually, I mean, just being honest about it too, he was always great with us. Mm-hmm. I felt like previous reporters that were in front of Brandon, and then also with Brandon as well. He was always a class guy. Even in my interaction with him, Coach Sowers always was real solid. So I think they lost a good coach there.
They definitely lost one of the best coaches in the area by far, and you know him better than I do, but still.
Yeah, they lost a good one there. It'll be interesting to see what they do. That'll be one of the storylines. I told Sowers we'd love to have him do some guest stuff with us. He loved doing the radio stuff.
That would be awesome.
With a lot of streams, so he had a good time with that. That'll be one of the storylines. I think whether Dimov comes back, some people think because Courtney graduated that he might not, maybe just and it's not because anything he said or done. Mm-hmm. It's just because of that's kind of how the cycle works with some parents who are coaches as well. You know, when your kid graduates, sometimes that's when you say, okay, it's time for me to step away.
And he has been there for years and coached a lot of teams before her. But at the same time, it was like he was building up to waiting for her to get there, and now she's leaving.
But I believe she had a sister or two that he might have coached before as well. So he's been there for a while. So we'll see if he comes back around. York Catholic should be great again. Mio Bayhoff is a junior. Mm-hmm. She's already arguably the best player in the league as a sophomore. At Spring Grove, what will Brooks have around him next year? Because they lose a ton. They weren't a very deep team anyway, so he's going to have a lot of inexperienced guys around him next year. So maybe this year was their kind of one great chance to make a run.
They'll have to rebuild a little bit, but at the same time, you'd much rather, I think, if lose those guys than lose a once in kind of a generation player, which in this area he really is. So I think they're very happy to have him back. He'll win some games by himself.
Better than the alternative.
Yeah,
and we'll see how his summer goes in AAU ball. See what other kind of offers he can pick up. He has 10 already. He wants to commit before his senior year starts. So we'll see what happens with that. That'll do it. That'll be it for the boys and girls basketball. We're all done with basketball. Can we talk spring stuff when we get back, or wrestling? I guess too.
Yeah,
I guess we'll give wrestling some credit too. All right, when we get back, we'll talk some wrestling stuff.
Looking for something cool to do this weekend? Come to the coolest place in town and learn to play hockey or figure skate at the York Ice Arena. The York Ice Arena offers a Learn to Skate program for skaters of all ages and abilities, directed by ISA and USFSA qualified instructors. Skating classes range from beginner to freestyle. Hockey classes cover the basics of the game. All classes include free skate rental and 5 free skating passes so you can try out your new skills. And remember, the coolest place in town is also available for the coolest birthday party in town. Host your birthday bash in group spaces or with a private ice rental. Public skating at the York Ice Arena is available afternoons, evenings, and weekends. Skate for just $7 and rent your skates for just $3. Plus, you can save with discount pass books. Oh, and ask about gift cards and kids' prepaid debit cards. So if you're looking to learn something cool, come to the coolest place in town and learn to skate at the York Ice Arena. For more information and register, go to yorkskate.com.
Spring is here, and Cannonball Charlie has his ammunition.
Here he swings and hammers it. Watch this one go. It's a game winner.
York Revolution baseball is back.
It's deep. It is gone. A high drive deep down the left field line. It is gone. A walk-off.
Take that, every other team. The new Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Payne doesn't take Sunday off. Neither do we. We're open weekdays 8 to 8 and weekends 9 to 6. Just walk into WellSpan Urgent Orthopedics, 2319 South George Street in York, across from the Apple Hill Health Campus. Visit wellspan.org/urgent orthopedics today.
Getting pumped for another year of high school basketball? Tune in to Sports Radio 1350 WOYK as we lay it all out for you in the High School Basketball Spotlight. Presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine. Catch a preview every day this month leading up to tip-off on Sports Radio 1350. We'll break down the teams and the players of this year's York Adams League. Or go to WOYK1350.com for this year's complete lineup of high school basketball previews. And this winter, catch 2 games a week, including the High School Basketball Game of the Week every Friday. Presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine and only here on Sports Radio 1350.
Broadway Transmission? I don't know how they do it.
We've been in business for 60 years at the same location.
I don't know how they do it.
It's our long-term nationwide warranties.
Oh, and don't forget our online appointment scheduling.
I still don't know how they do it.
They toted my van at no cost with my repair.
It's our ATRA certified technicians. Don't forget the good-looking genius in the office.
Come on, man. I know they help me with financing. Still, with my bad credit, I don't know how they do it.
I did my research and felt comfortable that Broadway is a AAA approved specialty repair shop. I showed my AAA card and saved some hard-earned cash.
I was happy to get a $100 rebate in the mail after the job was done.
I sure don't know how they do it, but I do know they get it done, and they get it done right.
Broadway Transmission. We'll get your shift together and back on the road fast. Check us out on the web at BroadwayTrans.com or stop in and see how it's done.
Sports Radio 1350 WOYK honors the Shipley Energy Student Athlete of the Week.
This week's Shipley Energy Boys Student Athlete of the Week is De'Arius Brown from York Country Day Basketball. Brown pumped in a game-high 23 points for the undefeated Greyhounds on Friday during their 51-42 win over Sullivan County in a first-round PIAA Class A playoff game. And this week's Shipley Energy Girls Student Athlete of the Week is Kate Bahoff from York Catholic Basketball. The 5'7" scoring machine posted a game-high 34 points Friday as the Irish answered the bell with a 53-42 win over District 12 third seed Bodine in the PIAA Class AA State Tournament's opening round.
Get your home ready for fall and winter and sign up for the Shipley Energy Protection Plan. For more information, visit shipleyenergy.com. Your teams all the time. York's only place for local sports. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
GametimePA Sports Radio 1350. I'm Brandon Stoneberg. Our final segment here with Matt Alabo and Teddy Feinberg. We're going to talk some wrestling stuff. Matt's been checking his phone. Matt, we got some updates. What do we got going on up at the Giant
from
Center?
Earlier in the AA action, we saw Dakota Mackley, we talked about, from Eastern York. He advanced to the quarterfinals of the states. He had a pin today. Since he was a region champion, he only had to wrestle once today. And then kind of the big story from my area is that DeLone Catholic hadn't had anyone in the state tournament since 2011. And Brady Raparski and Brian Schurmeyer both wrestled today. Raparski is done. He lost today. But Schurmeyer lost one match, but he won in consolation, so he stays alive. He gets to wrestle, I believe, tomorrow in consolation, so we'll see how far he can get. He needs to win, I think, twice in consolation to get to the medal stand. But he's the quarterback for DeLone, too.
Schurmeyer.
One of the top wrestlers in this area. So he's still having a good year and trying to advance a little bit farther, too.
And only in juniors, he could be back next year again as well. Any other updates from?
I think AAA is going on right now. So Central York's, what's his name, Chatterton, Dylan Chatterton. He's on the mat as we speak.
With a broken nose.
Yeah, so we're trying to find out how this match finishes. So we can talk some other spring sports, and as we find that out, we'll give him a shout out.
Sounds good. Teddy, you were at Media Day for a little bit. What'd you learn from Media Day?
I had a great time.
It was a good time.
I learned that lacrosse players can wing a wiffle ball, shoot a wiffle ball over 100 miles per hour.
Yeah,
that was insane.
109, Colin Malman. It started to scare us. At that point, we were like, all right, let's put it away.
Yeah, I don't think we realized how dangerous that could be.
At that point, we're like, oh, there's like some expensive equipment here in the office.
Because even when we had the softball players throw baseball style, and they were hitting like 60, 65 tops, now it's getting a little out of hand because they weren't really throwing it accurately. They were just chucking it. And the baseball players trying to throw underhand hit like 50 with the crow hop. So they weren't really doing it. That was fine. But yeah, with the lacrosse guys, when they got the stick out and we're whipping it around the wiffle ball, it hit like 106, 108, 109 with Colin Malman. So that got a little out of hand. But it was a good time.
I thought the spring sports really represented, to be honest with you.
It was the first time we had done spring sports. We had good time. We had baseball, softball, boys volleyball,
and
boys
lacrosse,
and girls lacrosse come out. They did. We had our photographer Jason Plotkin.
That photo gallery was genius.
You can put him in any room in the world, and he'll have these guys doing tons of fun. But he had them doing like thumb wrestling at one point, hand slap.
I lost a couple times. Yeah.
He had them doing. They
knows how to work the room.
Yeah, they were having what's that staring contest between softball managers. Like Plotkin was just make sure everyone had a good time. So we got to ask them questions. They got to do some fun photo gallery stuff. They had some lightsabers and Thor hammers and stuff to mess around with. So overall, it was a great day. It was like 8-9 straight hours of stuff. So
long day, but a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. And then right after that was 2 state playoff basketball games after that. So it was an extra long day.
It definitely was cool. I also just want to say I thought Jim Sipe did some great video work. And
Liz for planning everything.
Absolutely, Liz did obviously a great job getting.
Jess took a whiff ball off the forehead.
Not from the lacrosse stick though. It was not going 100. Also, I felt like I got a lot out of your guys' stories too. You focus on lacrosse, at least you led with that. And I thought that Matt's piece, that was interesting. And actually, I feel like it could cater maybe to even a bigger thing on baseball players getting in the weight room more. That was
Matt, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I played high school baseball for a few years back in New Jersey, like 5-6 years ago, and weightlifting was never something that was really stressed to baseball players. I did it for football, but no one really told the baseball players. They told us to get in shape, but don't get in the weight room. So it's very interesting to hear these schools like Red Lion and Dallas Town who really actually have a program for their team in the offseason to get their players in the room and lift. Susquehannock's another one. Now they have to do it a little bit different ways. Like football player, it's big about bench pressing. They don't do that in baseball because that could hurt your arm. That's the thing I was most interested in because back when I played, it was always like if you lift too much as a baseball player, especially as a pitcher, you could hurt your arm. And those concerns do exist if you do it the wrong way, but you still do a lot of back lifting, a lot of legs, still stay in shape and stay fresh for baseball season. And the coaches made a good point, you want to be a good athlete. No matter what sport you're playing, you want to be in shape, be a good athlete, and be strong because it's going to prevent injury. So if you're not working out at all, you can obviously do conditioning and running, but you got to do some weight stuff to stay strong to prevent yourself from breaking down during a season, no matter what sport you're playing.
I just find it interesting how much, obviously it's like the high school level, they emulate the pro game. Baseball players now, I mean, that's true in the MLB. Guys are literally jacked up. And you see that, and clearly it can help with things like endurance as well. I know when I played the game, it was the same thing. I mean, you didn't – not basketball players too, you weren't like pumping iron. Like it was more of like you had to be sleek, lean. Now it's just like – dudes are just, it's a new approach. But yeah, I found that really interesting.
And softball players, some of them are lifting too. Because I wrote the thing on baseball. Max Lang, Gettysburg's softball coach, reached out to me on Twitter and said, "Don't forget about us. We're lifting too." So shout out to them. But and it's good to point out because it's not just for guys. Girls can get in the weight room too. They like to still lift and stay strong for their season, so they don't break down as well.
No doubt.
Yeah, we had what I learned was that we had the lacrosse guys there, and we were kind of asking for years. We keep asking them, okay, is this the year York County matches up with Lancaster Mid-Penn? Is this the year? And now the York Adams for years has been, there's a really good player over here, there's a really good player over there, there's a really good player over here, but they weren't deep enough to, no roster was 10 or 11 strong. And that was kind of evidence because when York took their all-star team to the state college for the state club tournament, York County won. It's because they have a bunch of individual talent, but like not good teams.
Yeah.
But now they're starting to catch up. I mean, most of the league now. I mean, the boys teams, there's 7, 8 really solid teams up and down. And the girls team, there's 4 or 5 who can win the league title this year. So basically, what coaches were saying was a lot of coaches think we've already called up to the Mid-Penn. Now they can say we're on the same level as the Mid-Penn. Lancaster's in another league, but we're slowly and surely catching up to Lancaster. And I mean, yeah, they're just in another level. Watching practice out there is like watching a college team in some of these high schools. It's just insane.
And obviously, we don't have as many teams out in Adams County or like really just the Hanover area, including all that. Like, Southwestern has a team, New Oxford does, but we just added DeLone Catholic. They just have a team. Was it their second year?
No, this is
their first. But
this is the first. This is an exhibition year.
Right, but that's what I meant. There'll be varsity next year as the plan. So
that's the other thing we learned. DeLone and Dover are both adding teams in a year. So the York Adams will go from 12 teams to 14 teams. The last team to join was Eastern in 2013. So continue to grow the sport even more and more.
My question, it's so funny to me. Lancaster's such head and shoulders above York in that sport. I mean, when you consider it's just like, it's not far. I mean, it's like literally over the river, but it's light years ahead.
And on the girls' side, Manheim Township has won every district title since lacrosse is a varsity sport. So that's Lancaster. I mean, like on the boys' side, it's the same thing. Like a Lancaster team always makes a run. And no boys' team from York has ever even made states. Girls, Kennerdale's made it a couple times, but it's been pretty. No girls' teams ever won a district title.
That changes?
I think we're getting closer and closer to that, for sure. Because even the kids that we were interviewing said, like, even they're in 11th or 12th grade now. They said when they were in elementary school, it was like an underground sport. Like, it's sport still kind of new to York Adams. I think the first varsity year was like 06, 2004, 2005, 2006 area. And there's only 5 or 6 teams. So it's still a newer sport. I mean, these kids now there's youth programs, which is the other big thing.
That's the big thing from what the coaches I talked to said.
Now there's youth programs. So now kids in York are learning to start playing at 8 and 9 instead of picking up the stick for the first time they're 15 or 16. So it's the kids who are in high school now have been playing for years and years. So we're getting closer to that point now where we're on the same level as Lancaster.
At least the foundation now, and they're building toward it.
Yeah,
that's really what coaches told me was that before it was like trying to promote the sport to the kids already in high school who've never played before. Say, hey, you should come out. You're a decent athlete. But now they want to get these kids who are good athletes into lacrosse at an early age. So when they get it to high school, they at least know a little bit. Not that they're not still promoting the sport more, because with lacrosse, you always got to promote it to everybody and get some athletes whenever you can. But if you can get these kids into the sport at a younger age, it definitely helps.
Yeah, 100%.
And most of the time before, when we first started, schools were only having varsity teams, and they were barely doing that. Now Redline has a U13, a U11, a U9, a U7 team. So they've got kids coming up through the ranks, which is pretty cool. We polled coaches on who they think would win each league. We'll just run through those quick. Softball, coach picked DeLone as the top team, along with Dallastown, Central, Dover, all in that mix as well. Littlestown is a sleeper pick, but pretty much the same as last year. Central and Dover won their divisions, I believe, last year. Dallastown was right there. DeLone has been running through Division 3 for years and years and years now. So they're a popular pick. Boys lacrosse, Susky was picked to win this year. West York won last year. Dallastown, West York, Redline expected 2 through 4. All 4 I can see winning the league. Girls lacrosse, York Catholic is picked to supplant Kennerdale finally. Kennerdale's won 5 of 6 division or league titles. But they lost Morgan Day, which is a big hit for them. They lost the all-time leading scorer in high school lacrosse ever in the country.
Yeah, that's a big hit.
So York Catholic brings back everyone but one from a very solid team. So expect York Catholic to take number 1. Sussex, Kennerdale, and Red Line should be there 2, 3, and 4. Red Line picked up a girl, Alyssa Adams, went to Notre Dame Prep down in Baltimore, pretty solid. Maryland school, University of Cincinnati commit. She's coming up here, so I told her I'm expecting you to score 3,000 goals. Like this is
wow, big year.
Yeah, like your resume speaks for itself. Like you should be able to do pretty well.
What was her response?
She's kind of laughed it off. She was like, "Yeah, we'll see what happens." Spring Grove in baseball, kind of unanimous favorite.
Yeah, they're gonna be really
along
good
with
this
Eastern
year.
York.
They were great last year.
Spring Grove brings a ton back. Matt Brooks, one of the best, most fun players to watch. He can do a little bit of everything. Red Line, Northeastern, York Catholic, all potential surprises. Eastern was another one who brings back a lot from their team as well. Volleyball, it's Northeastern, and then everyone else. I mean, Northeastern's won 3 straight state championships. They're going
to be amazing,
and
they
bring everyone back again somehow. Like I don't know how does this team keep bringing everyone back? They barely lose anyone. It's crazy. They bring Brees Devilbus back, which is the biggest one.
Like, are they even graduating kids, or they just like bring? It's like super senior. Let's do it.
Yeah, Devilbus comes back. Ohio State commit was all. I mean, he did
everything.
He was on the national team during club season, which is pretty cool. So those are all expected. And then the track and field, Southwestern boys track has always been pretty solid. They're expected to come back. Red Line, Littlestown were both good last year. And then Gettysburg has Rayvon Diller. So
yeah, he'll be a guy to watch all year.
Yep. And girls track, last one was, I believe, DeLone and Central were supposed to be up there as well.
Final wrestling update. Chatterton did drop a 4-3 decision in his match. So I'm not sure what that says about his season if he still goes in the consolations. But
I do know he broke his nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, the picture's pretty crazy.
He lost a tough match, but still a great year for him. And Central York was a big year for them in wrestling, a program that hadn't done much this year. And Andy Meese, the story on them, just kind of their rise as a program.
And for all your wrestling stuff, check out GametimePA, please, because we have all the updates. And also, WOYK 1350 is going to the
Penn State, Ohio
State men's basketball game after this.
Big Ten tournament.
So we're going to join them live. Are we good to go? All right, we're good to go, guys. That'll do it for the show. We wrapped up winter sports. Can't wait to talk more spring sports next week. Have a good time. Get outside. See you guys next week.
First in York. First in sports. Your only local sports station. The new Sports Radio 1350. WOYK. York, Pennsylvania.